in our business with picking up the girls, you don't get with the women.
You do the video, you get the content, you take off, because that's obviously going to be a hindrance to continuing along this enterprise when you suddenly have a girlfriend who's saying, look, you can't do this anymore.
Well, so that's what happened. I brought him to like a mental institution.
Oh, you're saying there was an issue?
There was, yeah.
Okay.
There was some big issues.
Oh.
We finally meet up. Like, he wouldn't even like dab me up. He wouldn't shake my hand or anything. He's like, Eric, like, quote, Eric, I see you as like a giant rat right now. Now, I'm being kicked off. So who's really the issue?
That's how all my friends before I went to prison, the only reason we were friends is because being around me made them money. Hey, this is Matt Cox, and I'm here with Eric Davis. He is a social media pickup artist, and we're here to find out how he's making over $50,000 a month. So what's going on?
Cool, Matt. Well, I appreciate you having me on. Thank you very much.
We already talked beforehand.
Yeah, we've talked a little bit. But yeah, man. So I'm the CEO of E8 Productions. It's basically a social media growth agency, you could say. We do a lot of production, video editing, social media account management, and all that. But yeah, dude.
TikToks.
Yeah, TikToks, short form video, Facebook. We're really big in the Facebook right now. So yeah, that's kind of really what my company's about. But how I started is I went from really college dropout to, a big ride, a big journey, and now I'm here.
Okay. Well, and we met is it a year ago?
Yeah, we met a year ago here, actually.
Yeah. You were thinking about
yes,
kind of like the whole influencer house, or what would you call it?
Content creator house.
Content creator house, right? Yeah. And you were thinking about moving in here. You came, you checked it out. I met you through Tyler, my booking agent.
That's right.
And which is funny because when I every time I've ever asked him, well, what do I say? What do I call you? He's always like, whatever you want to call me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Now I think even he says booking agent, because I started just saying, look, I'm going to come up with something. I can't just say Tyler.
No.
So I came up with, I said, I'm going to call you my booking agent, because that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
And now he introduces himself as, I'm a booking agent.
And Tyler's been done from sales for E8 as well. So
okay.
He's been, I mean, I've said that to some people he's my president, but he's a great guy. So.
Right. No, he is. He's it's funny too, because he's always helping out for no reason. For the first 6 months to a year, every time he would help me or introduce me, people would say, what is he getting out of it? Yeah. What is he? And I would say, I don't know. He
never asked for money.
Never asked for me for anything. And I remember I said, look, at some point, I'm assuming he's going to turn this into a business of some kind. And I think now he is
I've tried to help him to do that. Yeah.
Trying to shift it to a business.
Yes.
Because he's super good. He knows everybody. He knows somebody who knows somebody. He knows somebody in every genre. So if I'm low on people, I'm like, man, listen, I don't have anybody booked next week. I just have to call him. He's like, okay, hold on. And within 30 minutes, I've got 4 or 5 people. He's like, this guy did this. This guy did this. He can be on next week. This guy can be on next week. Yep. This guy can actually fly in. So anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, cool. That's really it. Yeah. I mean, I can tell you more about, I guess, my story.
Right. I was going to say, where were you born? How did you get into doing this?
So I grew up right outside of Boston, about 20 miles outside Boston West, and in a small town called Southborough, Massachusetts. Shout out to my Southborough people. But basically, yeah, so at 16, 17, I always knew that I wanted to do something different, not really the track of the normal, people, where you grow up and you say, hey, I want to go to college and I want to be in finance and I want to work in a bank or do this and that, right? So I was always told that that's what I would have to do. I grew up in a very middle-class family where it was we didn't have everything, but we had, as much as we wanted.
Yeah.
So
you had enough that you weren't struggling. But
exactly. So a lot of people say that they grew up poor and stuff, but that was not my, upbringing. I grew up very, modest household. So at 16, 17, I was like, okay, I kind of had a realization. I was like, I see the people who grew up in certain situations, whether they're very wealthy or they're very poor, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to just live off my parents or live off this. I kind of want to do it for myself.
Right.
So, I always had a job. I worked at a Chinese restaurant. I worked at like Stop and Shop, which is a grocery store. I worked at a gas station for like 2 years. And I'm like, okay, I'm content. I'm like, I'm cool. I live in Massachusetts, but like, it's not enough. I want to live like the luxurious life. I want to do this. I want to travel. I want to go see things. And then I really was like, okay, there came to a point in senior year of high school where I just wanted to be different. So I like dropped out of high school. I just stopped going. There was no like real reason for it. I just wanted to be different in a sense where, okay, I want to figure it out on my own.
Right.
So I just stopped going. Then later on, I'm sitting the senior year after, I'm sitting there, everyone's graduated, all my friends are going to college, and I'm like, damn, like this sucks. Like now I understand, okay, I'm working at a gas station, it's like 100 degrees outside, and I'm pumping gas. Like, do I want this for myself? And I'm like, no. So what I do is I approach my school, I said, hey, I kind of messed up. Like, can I finish my classes? I only literally had 2 months of school left. So I expedited it, got my degree, high school degree.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, well, now I want to go do something. I want to do stuff that other people have been doing. Maybe this life is for me. Maybe I go to college. Maybe I start, doing something. So what I did was I wanted to be different again. So I took all my stuff at 18. I drove to Arizona. I moved there to Tempe, Arizona, where there was like a ton of people my age. Never been there before. I enrolled in Arizona State University, and that's where I met, a ton of, YouTubers and social media influencers, and I can talk about that a little bit.
But in college?
In college, that's right. So Arizona State University is one of the largest campuses for social media influencers. So like Cody Pearson, and That Was Epic, and Big Dawes TV, and Steven Shapiro, That Just Happened. They all go and film there. So they do pranks and interviews, and they talk to college girls there. They do like the pickup videos, if you've ever seen that. So yeah. But in Arizona, at ASU, I was like, school's still not for me. I'm like, I always were trying to find a way to make money. So I had like I'm very good at Excel, like Microsoft Excel. And I had like an Excel business doing people's homework. So there's about 3,000 ASU business students, which is, ASU is one of the largest universities in the country. And there's 3,000 students. I did about 1,500 of their homework, like of all of their homework. So, graduating class of 2023, they all cheated basically in the business school.
Right.
So, but I always found a way to outsource things. So I had, I had like 4 kids under me that I would pay them per assignment, and then I would upcharge the clients essentially.
Right.
So I made a little business. I made $12,000 free and clear.
And if you in just a couple months?
Yeah, in one semester. So about 3.5 months. Yeah.
So why did that stop?
That stopped because some girl got angry at me and actually told on me, told like the dean, and they called me in I got on academic probation, and I was like, I'm screwed.
Did you deny it? Were you
no,
just like,
I told them I did. I was like, yeah.
You got me. My bad.
Yeah. I'm like, sorry. Like, I was like, I guess I was the ringleader in it. And
right.
So, but they.
Well, you already said you
exactly.
had multiple people underneath you. If not the ringleader, you're certainly one of the guys at the top.
That's right. So I was the guy at the top, and they caught me, and I was just like, okay, yeah, I did it. Like, what's my punishment? They're like, we're putting on academic probation. You won't be able to graduate on time now.
Right.
And like, so then to me, I was like, okay, I have to spend more money to do this. Well, so I had to find another job, but I was still living in Arizona. So I applied for this job at AZA 10, which is Amazonic logistics company, kind of outside Amazon, where we handled like logistics for packages and stuff. I had my own little cubicle, my own little desk. It was super weird because at like 18, 19, someone going into work in an office, let alone Amazon.
Right.
It was just weird because everyone had college degrees. They were 30, and like, and I got the job just because I like had Excel skills. Like they interviewed me still, and I was like, okay, this is what I did. They loved it, and I was like, oh, interesting. Like I got the job, so it was cool.
So wait, so you told them?
I didn't tell them. I just told them I was very good at Excel.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say I hope I can't go back. I'm dropping out of college because here's why.
Yeah.
Okay.
So while I was working with Amazon, I met these YouTubers called That Just Happened. So Julian and Devell. And that's kind of where my social media career began. I've always seen like videos on YouTube, big avid YouTube watcher. I think everybody is now. But I can't say that's for everybody. But yeah, so I met Julian Devell, and then I really wanted to learn their business. I've always been interested in money, finance, how businesses work. And so what I did was I just kind of became friends with them, had no intention of like being on the channel or doing anything social media really. But I just wanted to curious. And so I said they were struggling. They really were living paycheck to paycheck. It's hard to be a creator at like less than 100,000 or like around the 100,000 mark. You're not. I
hear you.
Yeah, you're making like not enough to survive, but you can still get sponsors, but they're not enough to pay the bills.
Right. You need something to supplement your income every single month, which of course cuts into your ability to. That's why I keep saying like I feel like I'm 6 months away from hitting that to where it's like, okay, I can drop everything else and just double down on YouTube.
For sure.
And then I know I'll make money at it. But right now it's like, it's back and forth, back.
That's like the struggle with creators nowadays. It's
Yeah.
tough. There's no real way around it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but I also think it's what, it's like, look, are you
gonna
right,
make it or break it?
Right. It's like, are you willing? How bad do you want it? Do you want to live in someone's spare room?
Yep.
If you want to live in someone's spare room and spend all of your time, you want to wake up at 3:00 in the morning, bust your ass, go to your second job, do this, and you want to do that for 2 years. Guess what? You can make it.
You can.
If you don't, if you're saying no, my girlfriend's more important. I also want to binge these series on Netflix. I want to be able to go hang out with my friends. Okay, well, if that's more important to you, then do that. Like I get it. You can't. Very few people have both. Not that there aren't, because some guys put out 3 videos and they end up with 100,000 subscribers in 2 months, and they put out 5 more videos, and they've got within 6 months they got 1 million, and they're immediately making 30,000. But the truth is, that is so
very rare.
You got a better, probably you almost have as good of a chance of winning the lottery.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I get those guys all the time in the comment section who are like, bro, how come you don't have more of this? How come you? I'm like, but like I'm doing amazing.
That's right.
For somebody who came from nothing. I mean, I'm a 50-year-old guy who's 53-year-old guy who's actually almost got a career as a YouTuber. Like 3 years ago, I was laying in a prison bed.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled with the way things are going. You're right. I don't have 1 million subs. I may never, but my God, this is amazing.
It's really the journey. The creator journey is different for everybody, but it's interesting to hear people's stories. I wish there was like a channel that just went through like creators' journeys.
What's funny? I always, whenever I tell somebody, because I'll meet these guys, I'm like, why aren't you doing YouTube?
Yeah.
Like you're already making videos, or you're already doing this. Like, why don't you just set up the camera? Like, and they're like, and it's the same thing that I went through, which is, I don't have the equipment. It won't sound good. It won't be good. It won't be perfect. I was like, yeah, but that's part of it.
That's right.
So your first few videos are dog crap.
That's right.
And then you get to look back in 3 years and go, oh my God. But so do your viewers.
That's right.
And they'll be appreciative. They're like, wow, look how far you've come.
Yes.
Like, and another thing is like people don't want to be butchered in the comment section. They don't want to hear bad things about themselves. Don't. So that's hard. Like
you have to get over that.
Yeah, it's hard to get over that.
Right.
For most people, it's hard.
Yeah, a lot of my clients actually now, I have about 32 clients. They always ask me like, "Oh, I'm getting these bad comments. Should we take the video down?" Or like, I'm like, "Hey, man, engagement's engagement.
Yeah.
If you want the video to keep being pushed, you gotta deal with it." And
I'm not taking nothing down.
No, exactly. So that's just something creators have to deal with in a sense.
Not just that, but honestly, like probably the best and funniest comments I get are the ones where the guys rip on me.
Yeah.
And I was saying that earlier, like the ones where the guys Jess will, my wife will read the comments,
Mm-hmm.
and she doesn't ever bring me the comments or mention the comments that say like you're amazing, you're inspiring. She's like, yeah, whatever. The ones where someone really butchers me, she's like, oh my God. She's like, listen to this. And then I read them and then I start laughing.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, when I first did Concrete a couple of years ago,
Yes.
the first 2 weeks of me reading comments where I was just like, this is horrible. People hate me.
That's right.
But the truth is, for every 10 good ones, there was one bad one, and I only focused on the bad one.
That's right.
Once I got over that, I was much better off.
Just how life is.
Yeah.
People, see your bad things. If you do one bad thing over the 10 good things, they'll always look at the bad thing.
Yeah.
So
What's that? It's also that.
I don't know what the idiom is, but
Well, there's the Einstein thing. Did you ever see that video where they talk about Einstein went in? He was teaching a class at a university, and he starts going through like prime numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts adding, like whatever 7, 9, whatever it was. He starts adding them all up. He goes all the way to 100. He misses one just towards the end, and the whole class kind of starts to giggle and laugh.
Wow.
And he turns around and he says, "What's everybody laughing about?" They're like, "Oh, you got that one wrong. It's actually 90. You put 90. It's 91." And he said, "Isn't that amazing?" He said, out of 14 of them that I got right, this entire class only focused on what I got wrong.
it's crazy.
Like, and then he had a whole thing behind it where it's like, like that's absolutely not, not the way. Like that one thing only is just, I now know that's incorrect, but I look at all the things I did correct. Nobody thanked me. Nobody told me I was wonderful for that. So it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So, but you were saying you met these guys. How were they? So they were barely making it.
Yeah, they're barely making it. They're 22 years old, 22, 23 years old. I think I was 18. Yeah, I was 18. So they were barely making it. I was just curious how I could help them. So what I did was when I dropped out of school, I said, hey, I was still like working at Amazon, so I was still making money. I said, hey, let me like live with you guys for the summer. Now, if you know anything about Arizona summer, it's like 110 degrees. So it's really hard to film, and all the college kids leave. So it was really tough. But have you ever been to Arizona, Phoenix?
I've driven through Arizona, and the cones that were on the highway were actually bent like this. They were all drooping. It was
That's
that
right.
fucking. It was that hot. The orange cones were melted over.
Yeah.
And I remember going, I hope I don't have to stop. So
there's this place in Scottsdale, Arizona called the Old Town Scottsdale. It's one of the largest like clubbing destinations in the country. It's really amazing. If you ever have a chance to get out to Scottsdale, definitely recommend. But
not during the summer.
Not during the summer.
Right.
But it was the summer, and it's still very, it's a lot of people still go there. So a lot of people from LA, they actually just fly there to party and club. A lot of NFL players go there. All sorts of celebrities. So I was living with them for the 3 months in their house. I was sleeping on their couch, and we were like, okay, how can we get your channel to the next level? So I did everything in my power to learn everything about social media, whether it be like to get a higher click-through rate or, to edit a video or everything, because I literally knew nothing.
Right.
I didn't know anything. So they were my guinea pig in terms of, what my company is today, and a real world example of how I can come in and build a channel. They already had a good, following and a good base, and they've had viral videos before, but they couldn't replicate it. So we went in, and in that 3 months, I think we were at 201,000 subscribers. And by the end of the summer, I think we were over 400K.
Wow.
And and we grinded. Like, legitimately, that's all we did. Like, and it was nuts. Like, it was absolutely insane. We had a great bond. It was amazing. We would go out, film, come back.
And these are prank videos.
And prank videos,
Okay.
yeah. Or interview videos. So, like, the man on the street interviews where you talk to girls and you ask them, like, cool questions or crazy questions.
Right.
Whatever you want. So, more sexualized questions.
Okay.
Yeah, so we found success in the interview videos, so we just stuck with it, and then we kept doing we would drive to San Diego 5 hours away to go film too. So once this channel started building momentum, we had more, room to go. So what happened was, I'm trying to remember in my story here, but I think the channel was doing very well. I had stopped going to school, and I needed to find something to do because I wasn't getting paid for their help or paid for my help.
Right.
So I didn't ask for any money, but that's kind of where I kicked off my own career in terms of doing the interviews, because I was a feature on their channel, and then I became a regular. So that's when I had my own interview videos where I talk to the girls. I'm not sure. I get 60 million views a month now, which is crazy. And yeah, so there's that. And then I started making money a little bit on YouTube, not that much. I had 10,000 subscribers.
Well, on your own channel.
On my own channel.
So, but you're doing all the content for
Yes.
them. You're helping them. You're
Yes.
but you had your own channel.
Correct.
What was your channel?
My
made up of?
channel was essentially the same thing as theirs, but just for myself.
Okay.
So everything that they were doing wrong, I kind of did it for myself right.
Right.
So I learned from their mistakes and, really trial and error on their stuff, and building them up, I could figure I could build myself up. So I found a lot of success on TikTok very early. So I was getting millions and millions of views on TikTok very early. So I built my TikTok to 250K in a month of just interviewing. And I was like, wow, this is nuts. When you're a creator and you have that first video that's popping off and you get all these comments coming, it's like a really weird experience. And then when you're watching the analytics as the video's going up and up and up, it's a weird mental
it is
addiction.
I was gonna say just gonna say it is a whole the endorphins. You're
Yes.
just it's initially it's amazing, but then of course for me I was yeah, well, how do I monetize this? Because
Yes.
feeling good about myself is wonderful.
Yeah.
And knowing people like me, that's great. But at the end of the month, that's not going to pay my rent.
That's right.
So how do you monetize that, especially on TikTok?
Yes. Oh, TikTok's the hardest. I think TikTok, other than sponsors, is the hardest platform to monetize because, the creator fund there pays pennies, legitimately pennies. So I think I made $12,000 on TikTok that collectively.
Right.
And then sponsors a whole nother thing. I probably made another $5,000 on that.
Which is shorts
nothing.
is the same thing. My
Exactly.
shorts, I'll have a short that has whatever 4,000 or 5,000 views and it's 12 cents.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So, but I think you can transition those people from TikTok to other platforms.
You create it helps to create a funnel.
It's
you
a
funnel
sales,
those.
It's a funnel. It's like a sales funnel where you get the leads and then you bring them to one place and you can monetize it. But yeah, so I started my creator journey. I was done with Arizona. I felt like there was nothing really there for me anymore. I had a good relationship with That Just Happened still. And then I moved to Atlanta and I lived with my uncle there for a while.
There wasn't an issue with them?
Not then, but then after when I lived in Atlanta, there started becoming an issue. So again, I enrolled in classes at Georgia State University in Atlanta, and I was going there. I went there for one semester, and I kept finding myself in that same situation where I was like, okay, I don't want to be held to anything. I want to go make money. I want to go do stuff, and I really enjoyed filming. So I had my videographer Zach. He's in the Army now, but he stuck with me. And he lived in Atlanta with me, and he never asked me for anything. I just couldn't pay him.
Right.
But he just enjoyed filming with me and going out and talking to people. So he helped me build my channel tremendously. So when I wasn't in Arizona filming with That Just Happened, I was filming myself in Atlanta and in the surrounding colleges. And
this is still the man on the street.
The man on the street interviews with the girls, yeah.
Can I
Yeah.
mention something real quick? Because
Yeah.
you said I don't, you keep saying this.
Yes.
That you don't want, you're I just didn't want to do that. Didn't want to do that. And like, because I know, like, you know, obviously I know exactly what you're saying.
Yes.
Like, I think anybody who goes out and opens their own business or does something or finds something they want to do, like, did you ever, like, I've had guys who have been like, you know, oh, I didn't want to be one of those guys that was working Walmart or working as a manager or this and that, almost like they have a disdain for them. But to me, I always felt like, why am I dissatisfied? Like, I wish I was that guy.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish I could just go get the college degree, get out of college, go get a job as a manager, have a wife, have a couple kids, teach soccer, like, and just be happy with like that must be amazing. Instead, I'm sick to my stomach. I don't want to go to work. I'm miserable. Like, that's all. Like, you know, like, I feel like I don't feel like, man, I'm too good for that. I feel like I wish I didn't feel sick to my stomach, that I want to do something, not that I want to do something better, but just this isn't making me happy. And that's a horrible feeling. Like, people are like, oh, you think you're better. No, I feel horrible. Like, I wish I was that guy.
Yeah.
That guy probably has a great life. Like, that's the backbone of America.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I was that guy. So whenever people, you know, whenever I say that, I think people think, oh, you think you're better, but I don't think I'm better. I want to be that guy. I'm just that guy at the end of the day doesn't want to blow his brains out. When I tried to be that guy, I wanted to blow my brains out. I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this.
Yeah.
I'm laying in bed dreading going to work.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to be that guy. That guy, obviously, he doesn't. You're the same. Obviously, you're the same way. You're like, this isn't going to be it for me. No, I can't do this.
I can't.
Right. I'm sorry. So I just wanted to clarify 100%.
that. 100%. I felt I was stuck in a position where I couldn't get out, but I needed to do something. And I feel like a lot of people in school feel the same way that I did. They want to do something bigger and better than themselves, but they can't. They feel like they don't have an outlet to do it. But I highly suggest, like, so when I was living in Atlanta with, you know, my business and filming, doing my interviews, my uncle, who I, you know, consider one of my mentors, he told me, you just need to do it. You need to go for it. Like, you know, you're only going to be young once. I'm only 21 years old. So he said, you know, you have to go out and do it. So That Just Happened called me back. So what happened was That Just Happened called me back, and so there was 3 people on the channel, me, DeVell, and Julian. Julian and DeVell had a disagreement, and that's a whole big thing where they got into a giant fight.
DeVell, fist fight?
Maybe. No.
Well,
No, not to that.
When people say fight, I always think physical fight. Like, you mean like a huge argument?
Yeah, huge argument. Yes, a huge argument. DeVell didn't want to go film. Julian needed to make money still. The channel was doing very well. And so DeVell and Julian split up, and they moved apart. They left. They just split apart. So basically they had like a whole like YouTube breakup. You know what that is?
It always kills me like this.
Yeah.
Like, you've reached this pinnacle and you're like the perfect boy band or something, and you guys, you can't just get along. Like you're in a position that people would chop their hand off for.
Of course.
And you can't just swallow your pride and get along with somebody else. Like,
so it was.
I can't stand Colby.
Why?
Colby can't. We can't. We hate each other. You'd never know. we put that aside. No, I'm just joking.
That's funny. But yeah, so they had like their big disagreement. Julian claimed that DeVell had schizophrenia and was seeing things, and it was crazy. You know, we've talked about it on other podcasts as well.
It's like a scorned lover. Like, your girlfriend breaks up and calls everybody you know and says, "You know he's gay, right?"
Yeah.
What?
Nah. So there was a lot of different things, and I would say DeVell had some, you know, things going on, because there was one instance I'm gonna tell the story just for you.
Okay.
And I haven't really made this public at all, but there was one time I tried to go help DeVell, so I brought him to like a mental institution.
Oh, you're saying there was an issue?
There was, yeah.
Okay.
There was some big issues.
Oh.
So I like meet DeVell, and he was very sketchy about going to like the place to get help. And so we finally meet up. Like, he wouldn't even like dab me up. He wouldn't shake my hand or anything. He's like, "Eric, like, quote, Eric, I see you as like a giant rat right now. Like he thought I was a living rat. Like
right.
huge rat. And I was like, holy shit, there's something really fucked up. Like there's something wrong.
It's not drugs. It's not.
Well, I don't know what it was. Whether it was drugs or something, mental. Or I don't know. But now Devel and I speak a lot. We speak like once, twice a week, and he's doing great. Like he loves his life. So he got over that hump. But I'm not sure if he did it to get away from Julian or what it was. Like whether he made that up so that he could, separate from the channel. But he also didn't feel like he wanted to be in that light, in a sense where, what we do as pickup artists, you could say, is it paints us in a very interesting light on the internet, where people believe that we're just these horny guys who just want to fuck all these women. But right. in reality, we do it because it gets a lot of views and, we get attention and, we can monetize off that.
Right.
So I'm not sure if he wanted to separate himself from that world, which he did very well now. It's very different. He's not a part of it. And then so Julian needed a videographer, and he needed somebody to film for him. So he called me up, and I was in Atlanta. He's like, hey, move to Arizona. I'll pay you this much, which was shit. He offered me $1,600 a month, which in Arizona is not, you can't live on that
right.
at all. My rent was like $1,000 a month. I had my car, I paid my car off from Amazon, and I had money saved up still. So I wasn't very, you're ever in that position where, you give some sweat equity for a long-term partnership?
Yeah.
So I felt like I was doing that, where I would take a little bit, but I could see the potential of where it could be. And so that's what I did. I moved to Arizona. We doubled down on filming. That's the only thing we would do. We would be our full-time job. And then some months and months went by, and I felt like I wasn't getting anything out of it, so I had to reapply for Amazon, so I worked there again. And then things just kept going downhill. Julian and I's relationship kind of was teetering. I would always reach out to Devel to try to get him back and, help him. He was still living in Arizona at the time. And we would always hear things that was going on and all sorts of weird stuff. Like him breaking into his girlfriend's apartment. It was so weird. There was just so much stuff going on. And, Julian and I had a hard time dealing with that because we became very close and friends. Julian and Devel were friends for 12 years before that, I think. Or they were friends since they were kids. So it was very hard for Julian to overcome that, and I felt like he was trying to cope with it by getting with the girls from, either the videos or just trying to find random hookups. So and in our business with picking up the girls, it's a number one thing to you don't get with the women. You're not supposed to. At least I don't.
Right.
I'm not saying I haven't, but at least you don't. So
you do the video, you get the content, you take off.
Exactly.
You're not really trying to hook up.
Not at all.
Right.
No.
Because that's obviously going to be a hindrance to continuing along this enterprise when you suddenly have a girlfriend who's saying, look, you can't do this anymore.
Well, so that's what happened.
Okay.
So he got a girlfriend, and we were starting to make more money. So we just signed a deal with Jelly Smack, who's my company's competitor.
Right.
And they said, they were okay, well, now we're going to give you $20,000 a month or whatever it was.
Right.
We'll give you a $20,000 signing bonus. You can make this much on Facebook. If you don't know this, Facebook makes tons of money in terms of creator space right now, currently. Right. Snapchat and Facebook, a lot of people are going towards it. But I was living in Arizona. Julian got a girlfriend. His girlfriend didn't really like me because whoever, I don't know. So I made it a mission to fuck her boss because I thought it was funny. And I probably should not have done that. And so then she got mad at me. And then his girlfriend told him things that were false and untrue about me and what I was saying. And then he was like, okay, you're fired. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm stuck in Arizona. I'm fired. I don't know what to do. And that's kind of where we had our.
And even your $1,600 is over.
Yep,
it's gone.
$1,600 is done. Which to me, it was not a lot of money at all because I was making like, 3 times as much as at Amazon, so I really didn't care. But also we would travel to like LA and San Diego, and he would never pay for my travel expenses, so there was no food included or lodge, like
so there's your $1,600 anyway. Exactly.
So it was like I'm going out of pocket for the channel, and while he's making this much money on Facebook, so I was being treated like shit. And he knew that, but he was taking advantage of me because I'm a young guy. I was very dedicated to this, but then there was a whole thing where Julian and I were like the faces of the channel now, so we were all in the channel. So now we have like over 570,000 subscribers, or how many ever it was at the time. Now they're like, okay, well now Eric's kicked off the channel, so now what are we gonna think? What's gonna happen? Now DeVel's kicked off from Julian,
right?
Now I'm being kicked off. So who's really the issue? Who's the problem?
Right.
So
yeah, there's only one constant in this issue.
Exactly. And I think the constant was driven by the number one motivator, money.
Money.
Exactly.
Yeah, you definitely find out who people are when money's involved.
Exactly.
You know? Like you can have great friends for 10 years and we're the best of buds, and then you go into business together and it's over.
It's over. That's why I think when you go into business with a friend, you really need to, have defined lines of what is expected of each person, and what the compensation is going to be.
Yeah, it's funny. Really towards the end when I got out of prison, I used to say, "Listen, there's only 2 kinds of people in the world: those that will send you money when you're in prison, and those that won't." And I don't have any room for anybody that's not going to send me money when I'm in prison, because that's that's the defining characteristic of friendship. You can both be friends, but you know right away who your real friends are when you say, "Hey, can you send me $50?"
Yeah.
And this guy that you've done everything with, you helped him move, you did everything, you were great friends. Son's like, "Yo, bro, I don't know, man. I got the money order. I'm gonna put it in the thing. It's in the envelope. It's in my my glove box. I'm gonna send it tomorrow." I did, and then he stops answering your calls. You're like, "We were friends for 10 years. I was at your wedding."
It's funny. I actually find myself really struggling to send people money. I hate doing it.
Like, what do you mean? Where?
No, like just friends.
Oh, in general, right?
In general, like if a friend asks me for money, I'm like very, very hesitant.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. Like I'm doing very well right now, and I like have the money to send it, but I just
says a lot. Man.
Yeah. No, no. Mooney asked me for money the other day. That's why I'm telling this.
See?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
But listen, to me, it's like if I have it, if I can, I will. But if it's like, okay, my rent's this much.
Yeah.
This is going to be, I'll be cutting it close.
Yeah.
I'll be like, "Yeah, bro, I'll send you this much." Yeah. Like, I'm not going to cut it. Like, listen, my number one priority is me.
Yeah.
Anybody who's foolish enough, here's I'll take it out of my rent money, but I'll give it to you and I'll figure something. No. But if I can, I'm going to send you money.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you need to think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just feel myself in a weird position where I don't know. I don't really like sending money. I think I've been screwed over so many times with money.
Right.
And that's really my like issue. I think I can't mentally get over it.
To me, it's like, can you get $200? Yeah, I'll give it $200.
Yeah.
And if you don't pay me back, then great. Now I know who you are.
Yeah.
And I just cut you out of my life. Like, I'm not going to be like, "Oh, it's not a big deal." No, I'll just get rid of you. Like, if we had an agreement, I was going to pay you $200 and you didn't pay me back. Well, then now I know that's what it is. Like, that's how all my friends before I went to prison, the only reason we were friends is because being around me made them money.
Wow.
And when I went to prison and I said, "Hey, listen, like, it's between my mother sending me money out of her Social Security stipend,
wow,
or you sending me $50 a month, not even every month, just every once in a while, 50 or $100, and I know you've got plenty of money, and you're either not doing it, saying you're going to do it and not doing it, or just say, yeah, call me, I'll get the address. Listen, I got to get it. You have to call me next week," and then never answer my phone call again. Like, now I know, so. I don't it's you. Like, you're the problem, not me, because in the reverse, that's why whenever somebody says, hey, man, can you this? If I can, I automatically do it because I've been on the receiving end, and it sucks to have to ask, And then I also make sure to pay everybody back. Like, like I'm good for I owe like $6 million, but I do make payments. I'm not saying I have the I'm making payments though.
Yeah, wow.
I got it down to 5.7 million. So I am, I'm whittling. It's a small, I'm
It's gonna take a long time.
It's
not unless your YouTube blows up though after this interview.
Yeah, this is what it's really. It's the red lights.
The red lights is what's
the red lights change everything. The red wall, the red lights, and YouTube Shorts.
That's right.
That's right. If I could get some
Shorts.
YouTube Shorts, could be the game changer,
the defining factor.
Yes, much better.
That's right.
So go ahead. What happened?
I was in Arizona. I had no money, but I had money. I had actually a lot of money saved up from Amazon because I'm very good with saving money. I don't like to spend that much. So I had enough money to like survive and do whatever I want. But I also felt like I was screwed over so bad. Like just, I'm in this position now. I'm stuck in Arizona. Okay, I don't really know what to do. Like I don't want to work at Amazon. I want to just like make videos. So what I did was I made like a little video and I was like, hey, this is what's happened. I'm not on That Just Happened anymore. I got fired for these. Like I put it out very vague, and then Julian didn't like that. He made a rebuttal video. And while he was, there's their manager named Don was a big like contributing factor to everything that happened because he's a very interesting guy. He actually was like, he's very like snaky in a terms of like he will say anything that you said to somebody else.
Right.
So he's very truthful in that sense, but he sometimes twists things for his own benefit because he thinks it's funny.
Okay.
Which is messed up. So
he gets stabbed in prison. Go ahead.
Oh, for sure. So he told me that Julian was making the video about me, and
the rebuttal video.
And he told me exactly everything that he was saying in the video. So while Julian was making his rebuttal video to me, I did a rebuttal video, but 10 times better.
Right.
And it was just attacking him, literally going through all our messages, saying this. Him admitting he's cheating on his girlfriend. I don't know how you feel about abortion, but like
here's how he feels. No.
Well, he got like 2 abortions from his girlfriend, and like he was like he was texting me like crazy stuff, and I put in the video, and all sorts of stuff like. Wild, like I went relentless because I had nothing to lose.
Yeah,
I thought it was fun at that point, but it was like my career essentially, and like I had to show the people that like this guy isn't who he says he is.
Right.
So, yeah, it was nuts.
Did you put the video out?
Oh yeah,
he put his video out.
He put his video out, and it was just like all the comments were hating me. The next hour, I go premiere on YouTube, like. The real truth of what happened. And then it's like, okay, holy shit, I have like 6,000 people in the like premiere waiting like to hear this because it was interesting. And then he would always go live and like, I can't believe he did this. I can't believe he said this. Like he had like
the Logan Paul, poor me.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not. Yeah.
Exactly. So it was super funny. And then I would just troll him. I'm a troll. So like I was like, post pictures and like I would like tag the location as like Julian's house and like funny stuff like that. So but yeah, that was the story. And then I moved to South Carolina, so I had money saved up. I had a good amount of money saved up, so I moved to South Carolina, and that's where I currently live right now, Myrtle Beach. I bought my condo that I'm living in right now. I'm doing some renovations, and then I got an online job with a tech platform. It was like a staffing platform, and I controlled all of Florida. Actually, it's funny. So I controlled all of Florida, and I would, do staffing for like nurses. And then that was paying my bills. and I was figuring stuff out, and I was trying to continue to film and make money with my own socials, and I was getting good sponsors and making money from Facebook now. And then I was kind of like figuring stuff out, and then I needed like a new position, a new job essentially, where I was like working for myself, and that's when I met, Investment Joy, and I started editing for his YouTube and working with him. So I've been working with him for like a year and a half now. So it's been awesome.
Who else do you work for?
I actually can't say
Oh,
who
okay.
I work for because I have NDAs.
Right.
But I work with a lot of big YouTubers doing their their short form content and doing a lot of YouTube consulting. So currently my company, we do analytic consulting for creators.
But this is all you do now.
That's all I do
Okay.
now. Yep. So I transitioned from, editing for Investment Joy to building, editing powerhouse for a company. And then what I learned from, my whole creator standpoint in terms of doing it myself and working with That Just Happened and working with other creators that they were connected to and we were connected to, I basically built my company, and I knew that Facebook could make a lot of money. And that's kind of where, I make most of my money right now in terms of Facebook monetization. Now I make a lot of money just editing, but go ahead.
I was going to say, well, so you're putting up your own videos on Facebook, or are you doing it for other people and you get a piece of
Both now.
Okay.
Yep. So right now my personal content makes about $28,000 a month for just my content. And people think it's stupid and I don't have big numbers, but you don't need big numbers. You just need views.
Right.
So, like a part of my 60 million, views, I think like 30 million a month are from just Facebook. And that's where, And so I basically have built, a few other creators' Facebook pages that are doing well now, and my company takes 50% of it. So, we're doing pretty good now, and then we also do like a lot of, growth consulting. So it's been good in short form content.
And Jelly Smack. It's Jelly Smack?
Yes, Jelly Smack.
Yep. Because we had a meeting with them, right? Like we talked to them.
Yeah.
And that's you're saying they're your main competitor?
Yes. So there's no one really in the, social media space that's doing what I'm doing in terms of Facebook monetization other than Jelly Smack. They're in a little bit of a different position because they have all sorts of different deals and contracts, and maybe we can talk about that, later, like off camera.
Okay.
But they do all sorts of different deals, but the thing that I want is like for E8, we take an upfront fee as well as like a little back end, where Jelly Smack just does back end stuff.
So they're a little bit more, they have to be a little bit more picky.
Exactly. They're very, very picky.
Right.
And they actually talk to you first, and then they test your content to see if it will work.
Right.
And once it works, then they'll sign the agreement. But I've found, not to talk poorly about them because they're my competitor and I don't want to, to do anything bad, but I've heard from tons of creators, they drop people very quickly when they don't meet their content criteria.
Right.
With Facebook, you need to really be pushing a lot of content. There's heavy editing that is involved, and man hours and power to get everything that's needed in order to grow a successful page or profile now. So Jelly Smack kind of does exactly what I do. They're worth $3 billion. We're worth a couple million. So we'll get to that point. We'll just need to work at it. So
right. Yeah, because I was gonna say you had the booth at the at Podfest.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Is that where you're getting most of your client base?
It's funny. We get most of our client base through referrals. We're starting to set up a good referral program for our clients, and maybe we can get a referral program for you. We can throw one in the link if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
But what we can do, we are doing a lot of like word of mouth. So, our videos are performing very well for other clients, and then they send us to their friends who are creators, and that's where we're getting most of it. But we did get a lot of business at Podfest, and we have tons of meetings. I think in the last month, because I think it was just a month ago, I've done like 40 consultations, and I think we converted like 10 of them, maybe 8, which is okay.
Which you sent me a bunch of. You did a bunch of example videos.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to? So you want to throw up 1 or 2 of those? Because like the editing is really good, right?
Yeah.
Like,
If it's not, you can tell me.
The one time I was assaulted, I had put something together because I was fighting my case. I needed copies. So I go in the library. I said, Miss Green, is it possible I can get some copies made? She goes, I do not make copies for inmates. I said, okay. So I sit down, and then all of a sudden 2 guys approach me, and he goes, you just f***ed us up. We were getting copies from Miss Green, and you come in there and say that to her, and now she don't want to make copies for us anymore. That was our business, how we were making money. You done cost me my money, you got to pay me. As the week progresses, they bring me a list for $80. I'm getting extorted. I'm like, I'm not going to pay it. So the next day, so I go into the other room, and both guys come in and they close the door. He runs over to me and he punches me right in the face. Boom! Luckily, they're not kicking. They're bending over to beat me up. I hear somebody on the outside say, hey! They both stop and they run out of the room. Somebody told on them. Nobody even liked those guys. They shipped them. SIS had told me, I've been wanting to get rid of those 2 idiots forever.
right.
Thank you.
Well, you know, so I was gonna say, it's funny. This is what I was gonna say. So when I was seeing these, and I remember seeing you at Podfest.
Yeah.
Like, it was just you sitting at a booth.
Yeah.
I think you had like a banner or something.
Yeah.
But the more I think about it, the more I think, you know, you should have had a couple of flat screens.
Yeah, and playing them.
sideways.
That's right.
Constantly playing TikToks that you've done. Like,
That's
as soon as
right.
you're done, go to the next one. As soon as
Yes.
you're done, go to the next. Like, that would have been cool, because because when you're like, no, I'm really good at this. No, I really have it down. I really know what I'm doing.
Yeah,
I'm like,
everybody
I talk to
the
says
visual
that.
sat. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody I talk to says that. They're all good. Nobody ever says, listen, I'm dog shit.
Yeah, of course.
You know, but I'm free. You know,
That's right.
nobody says that. Like, so they're like, no, I've really been studying. I really know the algorithm. I really understand how it works, what they're looking for. But yours, you can decidedly or distinctively, I think, poor word use. It's very distinctive, the difference between, you can see one that's heavily edited or edited well and one that's not.
That's right.
You know? Because very seldomly do I look at one, when somebody sends me something, do I look at one and think, I'm not sure there's anything I'd change. Like, I'm super picky.
Yeah.
I almost always, and a lot of stuff's just out of your control. Like,
That's right.
you're using something and I'm looking, I'm like, that's a grainy image, but that's not your fault.
No.
Like, you downloaded it from YouTube, or just the footage that you got was it's just not great footage. Right. Like, there's nothing, what can I do? So, and because I remember looking through yours, and there's only 1 or 2 where it's not great, it's not a great film quality, but,
Yeah.
and it's only for a second or 2, and it's obviously it's what we sent you.
Yes.
Because we didn't have the cameras, or I was out of focus,
Yeah.
or whatever that reason was.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's great. And I was telling Colby, I said, he uses a lot of B-roll.
Oh,
you know,
yeah, of
because you
course.
can hide stuff by
Yes.
using B-roll.
Yes.
Like, I'm like, this must be like this must have been really bad images.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I think the stuff we would send you, like, I was probably talking.
Yeah.
But
And we're just stripping it from your YouTube, so that's why
Right.
where the quality loss is.
you didn't send him the
I sent you a couple of Google
Yeah.
Drive ones.
Yeah, yeah.
a couple.
We
like-
haven't gone through those yet. So.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, so well, God, then you actually got some of them.
Exactly.
Some of them were great quality.
Yeah.
Like, some of them were decent. But
Yeah.
keep in mind, the first 4 or 5, no, maybe first 2 or 3 months when we had the old cameras and stuff, like, it's just,
Cameras, it was like 720.
oh,
Yeah,
it
wow.
just was not good,
Yeah.
bro. Like, there's nothing you can do with that. Like, it's going to be fuzzy.
Yeah.
But you threw up a piece here and a piece here, just a clip here and a clip here.
Yeah.
And then you then you use B-roll. You always do the text over
The
it.
subtitles, yep.
Right. You don't leave a line. Like, when I do mine, I always tend to leave a little thin line between it. And I've been told, like, no, they don't like that.
Yeah.
You got to have the images butted straight up
That's
together.
right, yeah.
Like, there's all these little things that I notice. He does that. I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not doing it because you like it. You're doing it because that's what the algorithm wants. They don't want that line. They don't
Yeah.
want this. They don't. So you're just strictly designing them to play to the algorithm. And you're also
Correct.
your things. Like, I noticed that the ones that you sent me that were just for, like, YouTube are a complete story,
That's right.
right? Like,
Yes.
sometimes some people will do them for TikTok, and they're like, it's a partial story.
Yes.
Where it leads you to want to funnel them to the whole interview. you did. I told, because when we were talking about this, I said, listen, bro, I'm really only concerned about YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah. You had some concerns in terms of the short form content. And I looked at your channel, and I like sent you a text. I was like,
right.
Get these down. No offense to the other guy, but you know what I'm saying.
Well, it's funny because the other one you had was the guys that I don't know if you ever saw that video. So there was a video I made. Man, my shirt's my sleeves are just.
You're just too big.
No, it's not it. I'm just shifting around. They keep riding up. That's not it. Trust me. That's not it. I was gonna say, like, I had mentioned this before, where we had some guys approach us, and they gave us like 10 of, like, we paid for 10 of them. Like, they gave us a price, we paid for 10 of them, and then after they did it, they were saying, was it 10 or 5?
It was 12.
Oh, it was 12.
It was like 12, like 400 a try.
Right, and then they were, and then suddenly they wanted to switch it. It was like, well, wait a second. Like, we had the multiple conversations where this is what the price was, and now that you've done them, you're like, oh, they're taking us longer. It's like, okay, wait, how do you not know?
Yeah.
Like, is this something you're starting?
Yeah.
Like, so then it found out they were just starting it. It's like, okay, so you gave me a quote. You said, I'm going to abide by the quote this one time. Mm-hmm. It's a quote.
Yeah.
Like, so, anyway, we did that. And then they were, I thought they were okay. They weren't great. They were okay. But it's funny because since then I've got another guy that approached me just for TikTok. Right. And I'll talk to you about that guy. He talked to me. And when I talked to him, I mentioned you. I said, okay, well, here's what's going on. And I told him the whole thing. And then he put up a TikTok. He said, well, do you mind if I do a TikTok channel? Yeah. Not for the US. He said, I won't do it for US. I'll just do it for Canada. He said, in like the UK. I forget what other thing he did. And this was 3 weeks ago. Yeah. And so he had 2 different accounts he put up. One of them's got over 30,000 followers, right?
That's awesome.
Oh, there are videos on there that have 3 million, 3.2, 2 million, 1 million. He's really good at it. Yeah. And then he's got 2 accounts. Remember, one has over 30. Yeah. I think it's like 32,000 followers in roughly 3 weeks. And the other one has like, I think 8,000. Mm-hmm. And he's like, and he admittedly, he's like, look, I'm new at this. Like, I don't know. And when he first said US, I said, no, you cannot do a US one. I said, I got somebody I'm talking to. He said, well, what about this? He goes, I'll take it down if you have an issue later. And I said, no. I said, oh, no. I said, I don't think we'll have an issue. But he was trying to explain. He's like, look, the problem, like he's like, I don't understand why the one isn't doing well and the one is. He's even taking the same TikToks and he strips them down and redoes them so that there's the same story, different video, different, like completely, like he alters it in such a way that it would be a new video. Mm-hmm. So and he's really good, but then again, he's also stripping it from YouTube too, right? Like he's stripping it from YouTube, and then so they would probably be better quality, although they're really good. Yeah. I'll have to show you some of them because we haven't put. I don't think we put up maybe 1 or 2 on YouTube. Of his? We don't have any of his. Oh, we don't have it. Oh, it's just
him doing.
It's just TikTok, right? Okay. But yeah, his stuff's great. His stuff's great. It's good. But still, like, he's learning. He'll tell you, like, he's like, look, he's like, I just watched some videos. I've been doing this. Yeah, he's in the same department as you. Yeah. Where you might even want to like
hire him,
talk to him. Like he's.
Yeah, I might have to hire him
because he's one of these guys you can tell when you talk to him. Like, this is like I don't think he's thrilled with the job he's working right now. He's like, this is something I definitely want to get into. He said, I just kind of want to do it until I feel like I'm good enough to be in a position to charge. Yeah. But I mean, look what he just did. He put up a bunch of content. He's got over 30,000 followers.
Pretty good, yeah.
On not even a U.S. based.
That's right.
It's not even U.S. No. Like, because he told me, he said, look, like it's a much smaller market. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's a Canadian one that has the over 30 or the UK one. And I could even be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's those 2 because he didn't open a U.S. one. Because my U.S. one had gotten taken down.
Yeah, banned, yeah.
Banned, yeah. Sounds negative. But he definitely knows he's clipping out all the curse words. Yes. He's so we haven't got, well, I don't know, but I don't think he's gotten any warnings or anything.
New guidelines, yeah.
But yeah, we definitely need to talk about like Facebook or something because everybody I've talked to is like, bro, you got to do Facebook. You got to do Facebook. You got to do Facebook. Of course. you know, and Colby's at his bandwidth right now
Yeah.
with what he can do.
Yeah.
He's got 4 kids.
Wow.
4 kids, and he's got a wife and whole nother family
Oh yeah.
living
somewhere else.
living in South Carolina. He's
Oh,
juggling.
okay.
So he's juggling. Luckily, his wife doesn't watch this. So, but that would be funny if, like, he called me. I got a text one day. He said, "You have any idea the problems you've caused?"
That's
He's a
crazy.
stay-at-home dad, really. Every time I call him, you can hear these. There's like 5 kids in the background. They're
wow.
screaming. You know, they're playing in the garbage.
Yeah.
He's yelling about, they're in the trailer park. There's Firebirds driving by and old Camaros,
Oh,
and
okay.
you hear the guys next door working on their car.
Yeah.
So he's struggling. But yeah.
But yeah. Well, shout out to the editors for those shorts for you. So
Yeah. Well, we gotta play. I mean, so
We're gonna play a couple.
you're gonna play a couple of shorts.
Yeah.
They're funny, bro. They're funny. Like the Wes Watson one. You did one with
good.
Wes Watson.
Yeah.
Did one with Zach, my buddy
Yeah.
Zach. Everybody loves Zach. Wes Watson. He's the perfect prison white guy. Just watching Wes Watson gives me anxiety.
This is the definition of over the top. There's no way he could maintain that intensity. He lives in a different realm.
The kind of guy that on the street starts fights and somebody pulls a gun out and then he doesn't get shot, he gets you shot.
Unbelievable.
But he's hilarious though.
And I'm gonna start with my favorite, paperwork. With the paperwork, you know how I roll with it.
This is a guy that drank a Red Bull and died.
Then, now you don't now, so now you just admit you're a by default. Step your mother game up.
That dude's my worst nightmare, bro.
Wes isn't even happy. He's not chill. He has no chill in him. Take your own advice. Hey, Wes, what books did you read to attain that level of mental strength? It ain't a goddamn book.
This is insanity. This is Wes Watson.
He's motivational. I'm going to subscribe. I'll talk to you later.
Loves him. He started a channel a month ago. No, 3 weeks ago? About 3 weeks ago?
3 weeks ago only has one video and he's got like 2,000 subscribers. He's got
Wow.
Yeah.
uploaded some re-uploaded some of our old ones on there
That
just to get
we
some
did
good-
over a year or 2 years ago. We just took some of all of them and put them up. He put a different face,
Wow.
a different thumbnail.
Yeah, but then he said right there, total 10-minute story, and it's his first real video got like a couple thousand views.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, it's got it. Well, as of like, I think, within 2 days, it had like over like what, 2,000, 2,300. Now, I don't know what it's got now.
Wow.
Might have slowed down, but
He's got 1,000 subscribers already. Let's see. Yeah, 1.15 thousand, and first video 2,000 views, 2,500.
yeah. And everybody loves him. Loves him. Like he just laughs all the time.
Yeah.
He's funny. He's got all these stories. He's he definitely has that whole self-effacing humor. The same kind of humor I have. Like you can't go to prison and not completely
Yeah.
realize that you're just a douchebag.
Yeah.
And be able to make fun of yourself. Like hardly ever, unless you're Wes Watson or Big Herc or something. And then you come out of prison, you think you're like, then you come out and you have no sense of humor.
Yeah.
But the videos you did were hilarious, or the TikToks you did.
Yeah.
Of course, those were funny videos.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so that's cool. Now I feel like I don't do anything in my company, but it's like I do a lot. But yeah, so we have great editors, so I'm very appreciative of them and
Right.
all they do. So it's great. I think we have 32 employees now.
What is this? Is he just your driver?
Last night he was my driver.
Right.
Nah, my friend Mooney here. He's from we grew up kind of in the same town in Southborough, and we met on the bus. It was kind of a funny story. But no, he's helping me film, so I'm doing my own interview content in Florida for all of March, and so I'm gonna do a whole year of content in 1 month. So I hired Mooney here to help me with my videography.
Well, how often do you post?
So we post 3 times a day on all platforms.
And you're gonna do all that within a month. You're gonna do a whole year's worth of content.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very doable. It's a lot of work, but it's
Excessive.
gonna be great.
What are the interviews? What are
Yeah,
the
so
questions? What do you talk about? What do you
We
ask?
have all sorts of questions. The So last year we did a video. I don't know what your monetization abilities are here, but like we did a, how big.
Questionable.
We did how big is your booty?
Okay.
So we went in and we had like a tape measure on spring break in Fort Lauderdale, and like we measured girls' asses. Like,
right.
How big is your booty? Like, we're gonna find the biggest booty on the beach, and it did like 162,000 on YouTube, which is okay. And so we're gonna do a part 2 to that, but it was not on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was not filmed properly, last one, because you could not see the girls' butts very well. But
Okay. How long were the videos?
the video was only like, I don't know, 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a 15-minute video. We strive to get like between 25 to 30 clips per video. So by the end of the month, we'll have thousands of clips.
Right.
Tons of storage, and it'll be crazy. So it's going to be like really a lot of hard work. But my goal is I want to focus on E8 and less of my own stuff. But
Right.
my own content does make me money.
Right.
And it does help me, hire people like my friends and stuff like that. So and I would love to hire him full time, but I'm just not in the position currently to do that in terms of where I need a, cameraman.
Well, you should fire somebody else, right? Like, I mean, if we're friends, somebody's got to go. No, I'm just joking.
But yeah,
not funny.
Not
Not
funny, man.
sorry. All right.
but yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm going to do a whole year of content in 1 month. That's my goal.
You should film that.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, the explanation was
Yes.
like, here's what we're gonna do,
Exactly.
and then do a whole video on just.
But it's funny because people on my, my personal socials have no idea I have a company. So they're like, "Oh, where have you been?" I'm like, "Oh, I've been working on a company." like Mooney knows I've been taking calls every second that with all my clients.
Right.
Like, "Hey, how's it going? Good. Are you coming to Orlando this weekend?" Yeah. So it's like that's what I'm focused on right now. So I think I've transitioned to that kid that dropped out of school to now I'm making some real money. And I have enough to live on it and do whatever I want with it, and it's cool. And then, but I'm also working very hard. So it's interesting having a company and outsourcing and doing other stuff.
It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, but it's for
It's not a 40-hour-a-week job. Like it's like
more.
60, 80.
It's way more than
Yeah.
that. It's 80 hours a week.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it. I think I enjoy it way more than me sitting on a desk, going through people's, accounts, right? Like, I actually physically enjoy building people's channels and helping people and talking to creators and, getting views because, when a video is going viral for my client, it's not only a good look for me, but it's a great look for them and they love it.
Right.
So, it gives me pleasure and it gives the editors pleasure too because, with our number thing in our company is viewers first. So, not client first, not editor first, not CEO first, nothing. It's the viewers first. So we're working for the viewers, and that's really what we strive for.
Hey, I appreciate you guys watching the video. If you like the video, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notified of videos just like this. Share the video, like the video, and do me a favor, leave me a comment in the comment section. I try and respond to as many comments as possible. Also, if you didn't know it or not, I have a Patreon account. And you can, if you like this video, you can thank me by hitting the thank you button. And you can donate $1.99, $3.99. And if you were so likely, you could do, if you really feel up to it, you could donate $49.99. But that's just crazy. So also Patreon, and I've written a bunch of books. Check this out.
Using forgeries and bogus identities, Matthew B. Cox, one of the most ingenious con men in history, built America's biggest banks out of millions. Despite numerous encounters with bank security, state, and federal authorities, Cox narrowly, and quite luckily, avoided capture for years. Eventually, he topped the U.S. Secret Service's most wanted list and led the U.S. Marshals, FBI, and Secret Service on a 3-year chase, while jet-setting around the world with his attractive female accomplices. Cox has been declared one of the most prolific mortgage fraud con artists of all time by CNBC's American Greed. Bloomberg Businessweek called him the mortgage industry's worst nightmare, while Dateline NBC described Cox as a gifted forger and silver-tongued liar. Playboy magazine proclaimed his scam was real estate fraud, and he was the best. Shark in the Housing Pool is Cox's exhilarating first-person account of his stranger-than-fiction story. Available now on Amazon and Audible.
Bent is the story of John J. Boziak's phenomenal life of crime. Inked from head to toe, with an addiction to strippers and fast Cadillacs, Boziak was not your typical computer geek. He was, however, one of the most cunning scammers, counterfeiters, identity thieves, and escape artists alive, and a major thorn in the side of the U.S. Secret Service as they fought a war on cybercrime. With a savant-like ability to circumvent banking security and stay one step ahead of law enforcement, Boziak made millions of dollars in the international cyber underworld, with the help of the Chinese and the Russians. Then, leaving nothing but a John Doe warrant and a cleaned-out bank account in his wake, he vanished. Boziak's stranger-than-fiction tale of ingenious scams and impossible escapes, of brazen run-ins with the law and secret desires to straighten out and settle down, makes his story a true crime con game that will keep you guessing. Bent: How a Homeless Teen Became One of the Cybercrime Industry's Most Prolific Counterfeiters. Available now on Amazon and Audible.
Buried by the U.S. government and ignored by the national media, this is the story they don't want you to know. When Frank Amadeo met with President George W. Bush at the White House to discuss NATO operations in Afghanistan, no one knew that he'd already embezzled nearly $200 million from the federal government. Money he intended to use to bankroll his plan to take over the world. From Amadeo's global headquarters in the shadow of Florida's Disney World, with a nearly inexhaustible supply of the Internal Revenue Service's funds, Amadeo acquired multiple businesses, amassing a mega conglomerate. Driven by his delusions of world conquest, he negotiated the purchase of a squadron of American fighter jets and the controlling interest in a former Soviet ICBM factory. He began working to build the largest private militia on the planet, over 1 million Africans strong. Simultaneously, Amadeo hired an international black ops force to orchestrate a coup in the Congo, while plotting to take over several small Eastern European countries. The most disturbing part of it all is, had the U.S. government not thwarted his plans, he might have just pulled it off. It's insanity, the bizarre, true story of a bipolar megalomaniac's insane plan for total world domination. Available now on Amazon and Audible.
Pierre Rossini, in the 1990s, was a 20-something-year-old Los Angeles-based drug trafficker of ecstasy and ice. He and his associates drove luxury European supercars, lived in Beverly Hills penthouses, and dated Playboy models while dodging federal indictments. Then, 2 FBI officers with the Organized Crime Drug Enforcement Task Force entered the picture. Dirty agents willing to fix cases and identify informants. Suddenly, 2 of Rossini's associates, confidential informants working with federal law enforcement, were murdered. Everyone pointed to Rossini. As his co-defendants prepared for trial, U.S. Attorney Robert Mueller sat down to debrief Rossini at Leavenworth Penitentiary, and another story emerged. A tale of FBI corruption and complicity in murder. You see, Pierre Rossini knew something that no one else knew. The truth. And Robert Mueller and the federal government have been covering it up to this very day. Devil Exposed. A twisted tale of drug trafficking, corruption, and murder in the City of Angels. Available on Amazon and Audible.
Bailout is a psychological true crime thriller that pits a narcissistic conman against an egotistical, pathological liar. Marcus Schrinker, the money manager who attempted to fake his own death during the 2008 financial crisis, is about to be released from prison, and he's ready to talk. He's ready to tell you the story no one's heard. Schrinker sits down with true crime writer Matthew B. Cox, a fellow inmate serving time for bank fraud. Schrinker lays out the details, the disgruntled clients who persecuted him for unanticipated market losses, the affair that ruined his marriage, and the treachery of his scorned wife, the woman who framed him for securities fraud, leaving him no choice but to make a bogus distress call and plunge from his multi-million-dollar private aircraft in the dead of night. The $11.1 million in life insurance, the missing $1.5 million in gold. The fact is, Shrinker wants you to think he's innocent. The problem is, Cox knows Shrinker's a pathological liar, and his story's a fabrication. As Cox subtly coaxes, cajoles, and yes, cons Shrinker into revealing his deceptions, his stranger-than-fiction life of lies slowly unravels. This is the story Shrinker didn't want you to know. Bailout: The Life and Lies of Marcus Shrinker. Available now on Barnes & Noble, Etsy, and Audible.
Matthew B. Cox is a con man, incarcerated in the Federal Bureau of Prisons for a variety of bank fraud-related scams. Despite not having a drug problem, Cox inexplicably ends up in the prison's residential drug abuse program, known as RDAP. A drug program in name only. RDAP is an invasive behavior modification therapy, specifically designed to correct the cognitive thinking errors associated with criminal behavior. The program is a non-fiction dark comedy which chronicles Cox's side-splitting journey. This first-person account is a fascinating glimpse at the survivor-like atmosphere inside of the government-sponsored rehabilitation unit. While navigating the treachery of his backstabbing peers, Cox simultaneously manipulates prison policies and the bumbling staff every step of the way. The program: How a Con Man Survived the Federal Bureau of Prisons' Cult of RDAP. Available now on Amazon and Audible.
If you saw anything you like, links to all the books are in the description box.